Calcium Contract is without a doubt one of the strangest first-person shooters I have ever played. Developed by Igor Aleksandrowicz, Calcium Contract is a fast-paced first-person shooter where you, a Reaper summoned by the Calcium Order, are sent to a remote island where the Chicken Serpent resides. But he won't go down easy, as it has an entire army of followers ready to take you down. But the Order follows an absolute law of all that lives must die. Then so too shall every denizen of this island fall prey to your scythe. With a setup like that, you better be able to back up just how wacky that all sounds. And I am happy to say that I do think it pulls it off. Before we hop right into the gameplay, let's begin at the foundation, the art style. Right off the bat, you can tell this game has a unique look to it. From the shameless use of purple in the menu and cinematics to the design of the player character. I particularly love the animation loops too. Throughout the game, you will be accompanied by these 3 skulls who actually interact directly with all of your weapons in really creative ways. And the design of the big baddie being a flying serpentine chicken well, let's just say it really sets the stage. Lastly, the skyboxes are well crafted. Each level brings the mountain closer in perspective, and I also really enjoyed the detail of the chicken serpent looking down at you in level 2. But the look can't really mean anything unless it fits the design of the levels. Each level, as mentioned, progresses you further along your path, bringing you closer to the mountain peak where the chicken serpent resides. And this is well telegraphed. You start at the port just off of the island, make your way into a village square, stumble upon a monolithic pyramid, and end at an arena just at the foot of the mountain. The level design and architecture reminds me more than anything of Heretic and Hexen. Open outdoor areas with decorative bags, kegs, and other stuff alongside pixelated homes, buildings, and natural structures. It is no wonder in the description for Calcium Contract on Steam it states Heretic specifically as an inspiration. And what do we have to fill in this open space? A variety of enemies with, honestly, some of the most strangely unique designs I think I have ever seen. And each enemy fulfills an important role on the battlefield. I've broken down all the roles to 5 enemy types, so let's begin with the standard fodder enemies. Also, I can't find any names, so I'm just going to designate my own names for these guys, starting with the gangly, slow-moving, puke-spewing vomit goat. Easy to dispatch, just avoid taking puke to the face. Next is the hit scan kitty. Again, easy to eliminate, but encounter a batch within a battle, and they can prove to be quite the nuisance. After that, we have the jacked chicken. Fast and maneuverable, it can even climb walls, all while sounding nothing like a chicken when it attacks. These 3 make up the fodder tier and what you will encounter most throughout the demo. Next, we have the distant enemies, starting with the jetpack-equipped sniper cat. These felines can be a real pain out in the open, as a red light will lock onto you until the inevitable damaging shot hits you. Staying behind cover will help, but only if it is high enough to shield you from the sniper cat's height advantage when it uses its jetpack. You would be wise to eliminate him as soon as possible, along with the Pyro Salamander. Once you've been spotted, he will summon forth a trail of flames towards you, which can even climb walls to reach you. Both of these enemies are easy enough to take out, so long as you make your shots count. But no enemy roster would be complete without the inclusion of aerial enemies, and in this demo, we have only one, and what I think is the silliest out of every enemy in this game. The inflated, sludge-spewing frog hovers around at a fair pace, but landing shots will make his balloon body bounce everywhere, making him both humorous and engaging to take out. Best of all, once you've dealt the final blow, he will begin to deflate, flying across the map with a green gas trail following behind until he finally falls dead to the ground. This might be one of my favorite enemies ever created. Now we enter the territory of stronger, more durable enemies with our mid-tier baddies. And I assume these are mid-tier. This is still only the demo. First, we have the more beefy Goat Knight. A bigger version of his fodder counterpart, the Goat Knight flings out 3 projectiles in a fanned-out fashion. They still don't move fast, but certainly take the most amount of damage out of all the enemies so far. And finally, we have the Super Jacked Chicken. Initially, he doesn't seem much different from his less jacked brood, but after he takes damage, he will enter a berserk state and can run just a feather faster than you can. Get a group of these together, and you have yourself a high-anxiety situation that must be dealt with quickly. Fortunately, though, due to being so bloodthirsty, he is prone to getting into fights with his fellows. But we still aren't finished. Wrapping up the enemy tier lists, we have our field of effect support group starting with the Chess Master. As the name implies, the Chess Master can change the battlefield, teleporting enemies around on a whim. Be sure to lock onto him as soon as you can before he shifts the worst enemies behind you. And finally, we come to the goofy-looking Timekeeper, who honestly might be one of the more unique support enemies I've seen. He has 2 different attacks. First, it takes its giant clock, rips off its arms, and begins to drum on it, which will cause all enemies on the field to attack all at once to his beat. The second is a projectile that will make enemies move faster for 3 seconds if it hits you. Both of these should be priority number 1 if encountered on the field. So with all of these enemies, all serving specific roles, you can see how focused Igor was in creating not only some of the strangest enemy designs, but a cohesive unit that made for interesting battle scenarios. The kitties and pyro salamanders take pot shots from afar, the flying frogs dominate the skies, the Chess Master and Timekeeper apply effects to the playing field, the jacked chickens close the distance with fast movement, and the goats act as general projectile enemies. It all works very well together. But what is a great bestiary of enemies without equally great weapons? Well, Calcium Contract has perhaps some of the most interesting weapon designs I have ever seen, all of which incorporate your hovering skull buddies. So as a Reaper, it is no wonder that your starting weapon would be a scythe. Quick taps will trigger fast swipes, while holding down will charge for a more devastating attack. Next is the Skull Shotgun, a rod with 3 barrels wherein the skulls spit forth ammunition. Naturally, the next would be the Super Skull Shotgun, a hand cannon with a xylophone center. The blue skull supplies the ammo as the other 2 work together to chamber each round. Next is the Bone Flinger, which does exactly as it sounds. The blue skull supplies the bones while the other 2 prime the catapults. And finally, we have this monstrosity. Essentially acting as a rocket launcher, the skulls propel it forward as it gives an unsettling wail. All of these weapons are lovingly crafted and animated. Seriously, it was fun going frame by frame to watch how each weapon works. There are even idle states for each weapon where the skulls interact with each other. My favorite is the Rage Skull attempting to take a bite out of your hand. Scattered throughout the maps are a series of different items and power-ups you can pick up. The grenade is a throwable secondary weapon that will freeze your enemies in place, acting similarly to the Ice Bomb in Doom Eternal. These can be picked up, however, there is another more interesting way of acquiring them. Some maps will have what I call the Golden Chicken. It will run away from you on a set path that will teleport away if you don't kill him in time, making it a time-sensitive event. Take him out though, and the chest he is carrying will spill out all kinds of goodies. The demo also includes 2 power-ups, both of which should be fairly familiar to all of you. The overcharge will make your weapons faster and more powerful, and the shield is basically invulnerability. Oh, and health and ammo pickups were plenty, though only 2 of the weapons seem to use any ammo, the Bone Flinger and Rage Skull. I am curious to see if it stays that way in the final product. So, we've set the stage and have all of our pieces in place. How does it all work together? Well, first of all, this game is obviously inspired by both Doom and Heretic. You're a quick, nimble character picking up colored keys and killing enemies in order to progress further in the game. You can also jump, but honestly, I'd never really found myself using it all that much. I do have one particular complaint, and that is the lack of strafe running. In Doom and Heretic, pressing forward or back plus either strafe directions would increase your running speed, making maneuvering around a horde of enemies a little more engaging and fun. Here, you move at the same running speed. Small complaint, it is something I can adjust for over time. There are also pools of sludge, which will slow you down, but also any enemies that enter it. This could potentially be used to your advantage in later levels. Also, when starting the next level, all of your weapons and items are stripped from you, forcing you into a pistol start, or I guess in this case, a scythe start. I love when games implement this, as it means every level is designed for the player to hop right into it. But what happens when you kick the bucket? Instead of a quick save feature, this game uses a rewind function, allowing you to return to any moment in the level. There are even symbols of major pickups to better assist you at the top. Now, I have always felt mixed about rewind in shooters. It certainly helps keep you in the action, and you don't have to remember to press the quick save button during your gameplay. But maybe I'm just nostalgic for it. I feel like quick save isn't a feature, but another element to keep in mind while you're playing. It also forces you to try again from that spot every time. Rewind negates all of that and means you can make as many mistakes as you want without consequences. Remember the golden chicken? On my first playthrough, I completely missed him running down the pyramid and he got away. No matter, just rewind to when he spawns in and take him out with ease. And this is what I'm talking about. The golden chicken is supposed to be a time-sensitive encounter, but does that really mean anything if I can just rewind time? By the end of this, I couldn't help but feel this all seems familiar. The general movement, the level architecture, it all feels GZ Doom. But is that a bad thing? Not at all. Besides, it certainly takes its own approach to the formula by adding/changing how things work within GZ Doom. If that is the engine, I couldn't completely confirm that, though I heavily believe it is. The clearest indication of this is in the design of the enemies and their behavior. Igor has constructed a great balance between attack type enemies and support type, making enemy prioritization an important measure. I really liked this balance and never felt bored the entire time I played. Add to that the overall aesthetic, and you have yourself a memorable gaming experience. And that's not to mention the music that accompanies all of this, which just adds even more to the zaniness of it all. I really don't have any complaints outside of the rewind feature negating any in-game consequences, but I do suppose that allows for a more efficient way of staying in the action. Actually, I do have one big complaint. Igor is not receiving the attention and support he deserves. Throughout development, he has made posts to his YouTube channel covering the progress of the game and has only 47 subscribers as I am writing this script. He even made a post in Doom World and only received 2 comments, one of which was from me. So, let's change that. Head on over to the Calcium Contract YouTube page, give him a sub, and look upon the many shorts he's posted during the development of this game. Calcium Contract is shaping up to be one wacky, fun-filled time, and it deserves more attention. Igor, you've got a great game here, buddy. Keep it up, and I cannot wait to play the final product. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe even hit that bell icon if you're feeling bold. Have you tried the Calcium Contract demo yet? Or have any other retro/boomer shooters you'd like me to cover? Let me know in the comments, y'all. Thank you, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.